Papers, papers, give us your daily due. Papers, papers, we'll tell you what's the news.
Difficult to look beyond the Ryder Cup, I suppose, but on a more kind of local note as well, I think the Curtis Cup stands out as a terrific highlight. The comeback and just the general, that final day, I mean, they were dead and buried on the first morning by all accounts, but I mean, the girls put in a terrific shift.
The Curtis Cup was a terrific occasion. Nairn was a fantastic venue. The performance by the Great Britain and Ireland team was exceptional. I would go down to Ayrshire, Glasgow Gales, Scotland winning the home internationals, suffered a sore defeat on the first day. It seemed as though we couldn't come back from that. Came back, beat England, and fantastic achievement. And the celebrations after, that shows you what winning an event like that means to amateur golfers. So for me, that would be one of the highlights.
I think for me all year, Lawrie all year, Paul Lawrie all year, from Qatar all the way through, even something like the Scottish Boys, which he, after being at Augusta, he came to the Scottish Boys almost straight away, got involved in that with his sponsorship, and just the way it built throughout the year in terms of qualifying for the Ryder Cup, and there was clearly a target for him all season, and the way that he made good on that target, and then obviously the chip in on Sunday was just like icing on the cake, I think.
I think overall it's been a pretty successful year for Scottish golf. I think it's been a sort of comeback year in some ways. I mean, Paul Lawrie, there we are. Then you had the comeback of the Curtis Cup, the comeback, well, obviously the Ryder Cup, and the home international. So it just shows you that it's not over till it's over in golf.
Give us your daily due. Papers, papers, we'll tell you.
Carly, I think. I have to admit I was completely wrong about Carly. I didn't think she would. I wasn't quite sure whether she would be a top end player or not, because she didn't seem to be consumed by golf as you see other people, other successful pros are. But I mean, the way she played at the Ladies Scottish Open, I was very much impressed and changed my mind entirely about her in the space of about just a couple of weeks. I mean, she won twice. She established herself as a really promising talent of great potential. So I would say Carly's was my surprise.
I think Jack McDonald needs a mention here as well, because I mean, Jack reached the semi-finals of the Amateur Championship along with Paul Ferrier. And then a few weeks later he made the cut at the Scottish Open, and gave a fantastic account of himself up there. And loved the occasion, played with Ernells in the last round. So I think Jack McDonald deserves a bit of credit this year as well.
I think the two boys, Ross Kellett in particular and Scott Henry, that you stick at it and stick to your plans, and a bit of discipline in how you pursue these plans, that you're more likely to make it than not. And I think they're a great example to the younger lads here trying to come through in the Scottish Golf Union programmes.
I'd agree with that, Jock, entirely. I think Scott Henry was a kind of great uplifting story, given that the success he enjoyed in the boys, and then went on and won the men's stroke play, and we always seen him as another great hope. And as Jock says, he's had some tough times, obviously, and chiselled away at the coalface, but he reaped the rewards this year, certainly, and now it's a case of onwards and upwards, hopefully.
And of course there was also Nick's performance in the Golf Writers' Home International victory, which
devastating, yes. I mean, that is often overlooked, and I mean, the coverage of that was just shameful, really, to be completely honest. But I mean, still, Scottish golf in good hands.
Pamela Pretzel, who played in the Curtis Cup with Star, and she's now got her card for the LET tour through their developmental tour. And that's another one who's made the progress steadily. And well.
Katrina's kept the flag flying at the top end, kind of setting the standards continually for the Scottish women's game. I mean, her consistency, it's been another great season, won the Irish Open and a series of top tens and whatever, and she just seems to, like Paul Lawrie, 43, but just getting better and better, it seems.
And of course there's Richie Ramsey. I mean, we've not mentioned him. I mean, he won again on the European Tour, and he's a player just outside the world's top 50. He's a player that continually progresses. He's hard on himself, but that's a good thing. That Richie gets the best out of himself, being hard on himself. But all in all, I think, as we've said here, I think there's been a lot of doom and gloom in recent years about Scottish golf, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
Give us your daily due.
I think Richie certainly is one who will get better because he's absolutely dedicated, and he won't count as anything else but progress. And I think he'll keep getting better. Where he gets to the absolute top, I'm not sure. I'm talking about majors, but I'm sure he'll be he'll win a lot of tournaments. I'm convinced of that.
I think we'll get a big year from Martin Laird next year. I think he had one really good performance at the Players and the rest was a bit so-so, but I think Martin's going to come back big next year. I see him winning again on the PGA Tour and hopefully getting back into that elite status again.
For me, it's Stephen Gallagher. I mean, Stephen Gallagher is one of the most talented players on the European Tour. By his own admission, he's only won once on the European Tour. He's disappointed in that. I think he's been improving the last couple of years. Things are taking shape, and I think 2013 is a massive year for Stephen Gallagher.
Well, maybe on the men's front, I quite like the look of a Mark Warren. Maybe, I mean, he's had a decent season now. He's got himself back up into the kind of the upper echelons of the race to Dubai, and I mean, the Scottish Open was a bit of a blow, losing that on the final day in his grass. But he always feels he's one of them players. Once he gets the kind of sniff, there's a chance. And I think it's him and people like Scott Jamieson, that they're just kind of established. They're well established now on the tour, and I think next season's a big push on for them as well.
We'll tell you what's the news. Just